Hey Shakti, sorry about it, man. I thought I was unmuted. I was talking. Okay. How are you? Where's Sri Lanka? Okay. So that was Nilave War from Maunaragam, is it? Do you know something special about this song? Okay. All right. I'll talk about it before, while I start the show. All right. Hey, good evening, people. I owe you. I know I've handed over two of the shows to my other team members who have been hosting the Monday and the Thursday show. Do not forget to tune into them. And now you're welcome. You are on DC Live, where we care, we share, and we are on air. You're listening to your favorite RJ Rudhra on Cornerstone Weaving Workplace, which is broadcast every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so let me start off with this anecdote. I know about this song called Nilave Va from Maunaragam, which was somewhere in the mid, I think it's 1986, if I'm right, was the movie released, and this was a song composed by Ilayaraja and sung by S.P. Balasubramaniam, the evergreen, popular, famous singer S.P. Balasubramaniam. And when he sang the song, he was not aware of the mood of the song. He thought it to be a happy song, and he sang this with a very happy tone and feel. All right, that's why you see certain areas of the song with the nuances. When you listen to the song the next time, feel it. It'll be a very happy, feel good tone in the song. However, when the song was placed in the movie, it is about a sad situation between a couple who are on the verge of a separation. So that's the background of the song, Shakti. All right. Okay. So let's start with that. Okay. Just imagine from there. Let's continue what we're going to talk about. Imagine the song SPB sung, and then it was a major hit. But if someone had to go tell SPB that you did this incorrectly because the song was supposed to be a sad mood, but then you sang it, for a happy situation, what do you term this as? Someone criticizing that, right? So you talk about criticism. We're going to talk about a topic that can make even the most seasoned professionals think or feel a bit shaky. Criticism is what we are going to talk about today, right? So we all get it. We all go through this part of criticism, whether it's a formal feedback, a casual note on a project, or a quick comment in a meeting, even at home, right? So even at home, when we do not do something, people start criticizing us, okay? And most often, criticism feels like an attack, correct? You always go to the defense, and then you start telling, your mom says something, right? She sent you to the shop, you had to buy something, you instead of buying a particular brand, you bought something else. And then when you come home, your mom says, no, you just can't buy this, right? And then you just cannot take that. And then you start retaliating, you start saying that, that shop is not good, this is not right. And probably you often go into the defensive mode. It feels like someone is questioning your confidence. But if we can learn to handle it well, criticism becomes a cornerstone for our growth, making us better team members, colleagues, and leaders. Just imagine this can happen at home, right? Do you know the difference? It took an entire lifetime for me to figure out songs and humans are different, right? Yeah, even today we cannot really differentiate between humans, which is Jira, and sonf, right? So which is what? It looks the same. So you want to pick this from a shelf of supermarket, you just can get that wrong. But then how do you handle it is very, very important. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to look at it from a approach where you redefine criticism from a threat to a tool. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes. Okay. Now that we have understood what criticism can contribute, and we have also defined that criticism is not a threat, it's a tool. Now, how do you start? Where do you start? Let's imagine a situation when feedback hits us. As I already mentioned, our initial reaction is usually defensive. Two things can happen. We either become a brick wall or a sponge. And both reactions are wrong. Mistake one, being the brick wall. This is when we instantly reject the feedback. You start saying, that's not right. You don't understand the full picture. We put up a defense because we want to protect our competence. That's exactly how your mind will react. That's a defense mechanism for your mind. But when you build a brick wall, you block not just the pain, but also the useful information that you need to get from that feedback. Filter it out, right? You stop that. And in turn, you stop the conversation, which is critical to weaving the process of feedback to be constructive. That's very, very important. So you kind of become closed. That's dangerous, isn't it? You're not going to move from there. Now, because in general, when something's happening, when you're not feeling good, the immediate defense of your mind is to protect. You're becoming anxious, you're becoming angry, you're feeling shame. You're not feeling your worth, right? Yeah, people don't understand your worth. But that criticism is not something that makes your worth, is what you need to understand. Absolutely, that is not your worth. You're worth beyond it. However, it is important for you to get that piece of information. And if you become a brick, if you become a wall, if you become closed, you're not letting that information flow. So being the brick wall is the first mistake. Now let's look at the softer side of it, right? Being the sponge. This is when we soak up the feedback, let it become personal, and carry the weight of it as a failure. We internalize it until it affects our confidence on the next task. The sponge reaction makes you emotionally exhausted and less productive. Just think about it, right? When something's going wrong, you are overwhelmed with it. You're stressed with it. You're not able to think. When someone is told that you're going wrong. Have you ever felt that situation? I'm sure all of us have gone through. All of us have gone through this. Having said this, how do we move past the wall and the sponge? Here's the solution for it. We become a filter. A filter takes in the liquid, separates the debris, keeps the clean and the useful part. So people say this, right? Muddy water, when you take a stick and stir it, it gets even muddier. Now instead of that, you need to act as a filter there. Let the muddy water settle. Correct? It settles by itself. It's going to get clearer from there. And then you separate the debris and put get the clean out of it, which is the piece of information you want. And how do you make it useful? That's how you become a filter. Now let's talk about the 3-step filter technique. I'm going to talk about the 3-step filter technique. Okay. I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step technique, as I said. you can use the very next time you get critical feedback, no matter it's personal, no matter it is professional, try using it. The first thing that you need to do, as I said, when you have muddy water, stirring it up makes it even worse. So what you need to do, you need to let it settle. Let the muddy water settle. For the muddy water to settle, you need to buy time, the pause. When the words land, your brain goes into flight or flight mode. Okay, fight or flight mode. Then you need to interrupt the reaction. Instead of reacting immediately, you just say, maybe you're in a conversation with a friend, with a team member, with a colleague, with your boss, whoever it is. Instead of reacting immediately, just receive that. You want to interrupt, just say one of these phrases. That's really helpful. Let me take a moment to process that. Or possibly say, thank you for the feedback. I would like to reflect on this. Can we revisit this specific point in a few minutes or later in the day sometime? That's one way of doing it. This buys you time to regulate your breathing, your shift of your brain from defending to listening. A moment of silence that saves that conversation. Now imagine you're going to be reactive. You're going to say, no, I didn't do this. This is not what I expected. I've put in hard work. I've done that. Then what you're going to do is you are going to aggravate the situation for you. So buy the time. The step 2 of the filter technique is the clarify, which is asking diagnostic questions. First one is buying time, which is the pause. Next one is asking diagnostic questions, the clarify. That's the step 2 of it. What do you do here in the situation? Most criticism sometimes is general, right? You need to make it specific. That is the difference between your presentation was disorganized. The structure you used for the slide 3 was confusing. That's the feedback. So you need to get this clarified. Ask clarifying questions, always using a neutral and a very professional tone. Can you give me a specific example of where that happened? If you were doing this, what would the first step look like? What is the single most important change you would recommend to me? These are the ways that you ask anybody on the other side who's talking to you or giving you feedback or a criticism. This focuses the discussion on the work and not on you. This helps you extract the useful kernel of the truth. That's a very important step. Step 1, you buy time, pause. Step 2, ask diagnostic questions and clarify. Step 3, state your action, the commitment that you want to do. In the interaction with a very clear commitment. This shows professionalism, ownership, and signals to the person giving the feedback that they were heard and their time was valued. What are the statements that you can say? Based on your feedback about the slide 3 data, my action item is to rebuild that section using a chronological view by Tuesday. Give a timeline, very specific. One of the statements, I hear you. I'll focus on being concise in our team updates going forward. I appreciate you pointing that out. Okay. When you commit to a specific action, you turn a painful critic into a professional improvement plan. That is the ultimate goal of handling criticism, right? The goal of handling criticism is to get an improved plan for yourself, a plan of action. Now, this is the 3-step technique, the filter that I was talking about. Now, why is it so important, right? So you all might ask me, why is it so important? Okay, I've already told this to you, right? You either become a brick wall or you become a sponge. The sponge is overwhelmed, sulking, and sinking with emotions. A brick wall is you're rigid. But that's not going to help you in a growth mindset. Now, when you handle criticism as a filter, not a wall or a sponge, you are modeling the kind of resilience and professional maturity that makes you and possibly the team you lead stronger. You're showing yourself and to others that criticism isn't a threat, it's something that helps you build. This week, take this up as a challenge. Practice step 1, right? So don't do anything else right now. Practice step 1. If you're able to do all the 3, great. But if not, if something is coming your way and you want to react to it, just buy time. Just pause. Don't react. See what a 5-second, 10-second, 15-second pause can do for your professional peace of mind. Not necessarily professional, maybe in your personal life as well. Now, why is it so important? Why is it so important? I'm sure all of you have heard this word called resilience. I'm sure all of you have heard resilience. Handling criticism effectively is a fundamental practice that directly builds resilience. Okay. What is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce from adversity, setbacks, or stress, maintaining one's equilibrium and adapting positively to difficult situations. The most recent example is this. Examples that I can give you. Okay, say, let's talk about cricket, right? So all of us watch cricket. So what happened? We lost the test match series so very badly. But that was a setback. So we came back, and there's a player who's scoring back-to-back centuries. And both of the matches, though we've lost one and we have won one, there was a player who scored back-to-back centuries in that game. So that is resilience, ability to bounce back from adversity, setbacks, or stress, and maintain one's equilibrium, and then adapting the positive mindset to difficult situations. Okay, it helps you reduce personalized, taking things personally, being the sponge for yourself. So when you learn to handle criticism effectively as a filter, not as a sponge, you essentially train your mind to separate the feedback on the work from the judgment of your worth. You will not set in a self-doubt. You train your mind to separate the feedback on the work from the judgment of your worth. This allows you to process professional setbacks without letting them shatter your core confidence. It's very important. Most of us are shattered by our breakdown in confidence. So this will help you hold your confidence. It develops emotional regulation. The ability to pause and clarify is an act of emotional regulation. You do not react. Regularly practicing this prevents the flight or the flight response from taking over. Resilience is largely about managing and recovering from intense emotions. And the skill is honed every time you receive tough feedback and you handle it well. As I said a moment ago, it reinforces a growth mindset. Effectively handling criticism involves turning a negative observation into a positive, actionable plan. This mindset challenges our opportunities for learning is the very definition of resilience. I repeat, challenges or opportunities for learning is the very definition of resilience. You don't just bounce, but you bounce forward and smarter. By tackling and handling criticism, you're already laying a strong groundwork for your growth. And that's all I had for the show called The Cornerstone Weaving Workplace, which talks about human dynamics. Thank you for tuning in. and supporting for the show. This is your RJ Rudhra signing off on DC Live. Until we meet next Friday at 5:30 p.m. on another episode of Cornerstone Weaving Workplace on DC Live, where we care, we share, and we are on air. Thank you. Thank you, Shakti.